What's good guys, Tiger here, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be giving you underrated positioning tips that I think are really going to help you at the moment in Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare is a game that everyone is struggling to learn. It is very, very different to anything we have played before. This is probably one of the biggest changes we have had in the COD franchise since they added jetpacks and advanced movement when Advanced Warfare came out. However, I feel like this transition is even harder to get used to because the pace and the playstyle is just so completely different. And I feel positioning is really going to help you guys no matter what your skill level is or how well you are doing in Modern Warfare. I feel these tips are really going to help you. So the gameplay that you're going to see in the background is me consciously thinking about my positioning as I play this game. And this is what I want you to do. In this video, I'm not exactly going to be telling you things that you don't already know. I just want to give you the mindset. I want you to be consciously thinking about these tips as you play the game. Because I feel like that is all we need. We just need that little thing in our head, that one thing to focus on if we do want to improve and get a better KD, win more games and all that. So the first thing that you want to do is establish the dangerous areas of the map and line of sights. So it doesn't matter what map you are playing on, there are going to be certain areas of the map. Now these areas might change game by game. For example, you might be playing on the same map one game, and then in another game, there are certain areas of the map that are just way more dangerous because the enemy players are spending more time in that location than they were in the previous game. So in every single game, on every single map, you want to identify the dangerous areas of the map. For the most part, they're going to be the same every single game. And these areas of the map, you're going to want to be very cautious about crossing and going into these areas. This is why I do recommend taking things like smoke grenades if you do want to move around the map. Another thing you're going to want to do is use the mount feature. You want to be mounting your weapon on walls and pieces of cover all of the time. You want to be really kind of taking your time as you move around the map because you're just going to get smoked if you're not ready for that person who is just pre-aiming that corner that you're about to come around. So you need to be really careful, use the mount feature as much as possible. Really get used to it and be able to see what is around those corners before you actually commit to moving up the map. And this mounting feature is going to allow you to peek more often, and you want to be peeking more than once. So if you want to push up the map, if you want to progress and move forward, you definitely want to peek corners more than once. Take your time, see if anyone's there, keep going back and forth. If you think that someone's in the distance, you may want to see them the first time, go back into cover, pre-aim and then get ready to shoot at them the second time. However, if you think it's going to be too dangerous, then just completely leave it and move to a different area of the map. I'm going to show you a little example now of me in a custom game just moving up the map very, very slowly, and I'm going to be incorporating all of the things that I'm going to be speaking about in this video. So using smokes to cross dangerous line of sight, really taking your time looking around the map, peeking certain things. When you open doors, you may not always want to just barge through them and make a very loud noise. Sometimes you're just going to want to open the door normally, and then there are going to be times where you're going to want to aim down sight, peek open the door, and then push it forward to really minimize that sound. Another thing you're going to want to do is as you get a little bit more confident and aggressive, you're going to want to break up your sprints, your super sprints, with ADS, with aiming down sight. So as you are moving around the map and you're trying to sprint, you want to constantly break up those sprints by pressing the LT trigger or whatever the equivalent is on PC. So you never want to be sprinting constantly for too long. You want to be breaking it up with your ADS. This way, if an enemy ever does come into your field of view, you are ready because you may have already just broken your sprint, and that is going to reduce the time it takes you to aim down sight and shoot back. So always think about that. Try and break up your sprint. Try and get in a habit of that, and it really will help you. Also, as you maneuver around the map, you want to stay close to cover. You want to always be at a close distance to cover, so you can always run to safety if you need to. So if you are pushing up the map, push up close to a wall. If there are certain obstacles, try and stay near things that can ever protect you. Because if you are in the open, you have got 100% of your body showing. Now, like I said earlier, you never know when you're going to be in a gunfight. You never know when someone is going to get sights on you, because there are so many lines of sights in these maps. You really do need to be aware. So you always want to be close to something that is going to try and cover as much as your body as possible. And as you move around the maps, you don't always want to use the same route. So for example, if you're pushing through a building, you might want to go through it different ways. You may not always want to go through it the exact same way. If you're going through a bit of an open space and there's multiple bits of cover, you may want to mix it up depending on where you think the enemy might be. So you're not always going to want to use the exact same cover every single time you push through a certain area of the map. You do want to mix it up. For example, as certain areas start to get more popular, you might want to start using the less popular pieces of cover, because that's going to throw the enemy out, as they are less likely to be centering on you and pre-aiming in those spots. And as you move around the map, you do want to use your teammates. You want to use your teammates to push into the positions that you want to get to, and also you want to use them for intel. Intel is so important in this game, especially for positioning. The routes that you take to get around the map and the way that you play the map and your pace is all going to be down to what is on your minimap and your compass. You want to use all the information that you can get in order to make your decisions. So for example, if you're playing headquarters and the HQ is in one corner of the map, and you know that all of the enemies are in that corner of the map, then the middle part of the map, what normally is a very scary, hard part of the map to get through, you're going to be able to push through it a lot faster, because you're going to be fairly certain that they're not going to be in those spots. So you always need to consider your intel, get as much information as possible on the enemy spawns, and this is going to help you decide the pace at which you move through certain areas of the map. Also, you're going to want to slide into cover, so always use the slide feature to slide from one piece of cover to another, especially if you are traversing dangerous areas of the map. You always want to be super sprinting and sliding into those areas, as you want to be spending the least amount of time possible in open areas of the map. So use your teammates to control dangerous paths and line of sight. So if you've got 3 enemies pushing up and they're all looking towards broken or a certain area of the map that you know is normally dangerous, you know that you might not need to constantly be looking at that area because your teammates have got your back. But don't trust them too much, but there are going to be times where you may need to rely on them, because at the end of the day, you cannot watch everything. You can try, and I recommend you to try and look at everything as possible, but you simply can't. It's impossible. Where you will want to use your teammates to help you move around the map. Also, you want to assume there is always someone on the flank, so always keep checking behind you. It's a good exercise to try and think how the enemy is thinking. So if you know that the enemy know where you are, that some of those players are going to try and flank you. And if no members of your team are watching the flank, it might be sensible for you to watch the flank and get into good positions to catch them off guard. Okay guys, so those are my positioning tips. I really do hope they helped you, and I really hope it gave you a good mindset for when you play your next Modern Warfare game. This is all these tips are. They're just trying to help you prepare yourself for your next game. So whenever you're struggling and you feel like you're being too aggressive, your pace is just off, remember this video, remember these tips, and hopefully it'll help you get back into the game and into your next game. Okay guys, so if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, consider subscribing and turning on notifications to stay updated on all my latest content. But that's all from me guys, take care and I'll see you in the next video.